Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the most talented and iconic celebrities in Hollywood. He has worked on memorable movies that are forever cemented into our hearts, and he always makes us all swoon. With all of the incredible work he has done, you can bet that he's made an incredible amount of money in the process. Make sure to stick around until the end to find out what is the most nerdy thing that Leo spends his money on. Before we get started, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to The Richest, and hit that notification bell. Also check out our community tab for more intriguing content. Now, this is how Leo DiCaprio spends his millions. Leonardo DiCaprio is one of those actors that you just can't forget.
Leo! Leo! Hey, Leo!
Even when he started out on TV in shows like Growing Pains, he was already catching the eye of producers and fans alike. In 1993, he made waves in the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and then went on to cement his stardom in the '97 classic Titanic. Since then, Leo has starred in some of the biggest blockbuster hits that Hollywood has ever seen, and he's been paid quite appropriately for his hard work. Leo's net worth is estimated to be over $245 million, which means he has plenty of cash to throw around for different luxuries. Let's take a look at a few of those now. Like any Hollywood celebrity, Leo has his share of luxury accommodations. In 2013, he dropped about $10 million for a luxury condo in New York City. The apartment featured a circadian lighting design as well as a juicing station and a custom-designed light therapy system in the shower. While Leo sold this apartment a couple years later, we can still appreciate how stunning the place truly was. One of the most talked about features of the condo was a vitamin C-infused shower. But why vitamin C? Well, apparently it can reduce the amount of chlorine in the tap water. The Greenwich Village place certainly was running on city water, which is totally drinkable, but you can never be too careful, right? These shower heads can go for a couple of $100s depending on the brand you choose. Yeah, it seems like it's not that much, but the filter has to be changed regularly. Plus, most people just use the normal shower head that comes with their new house. So spending extra money on such a luxurious amenity is definitely seen as nuts by some people. In 2018, Leo bought Moby's old LA mansion for about $4.9 million. That's about half the price he spent on his Greenwich home, so maybe he's trying to save some money? Another one of Leo's craziest purchases was buying property on a private island off the coast of Belize. He reportedly bought the island for a mere $1.75 million, and he's helping to design an eco-friendly vacation spot called Blackador Key, a restorative island. Since Leo is so passionate about the environment, he wanted to create a backpacker's dream spot while also spreading awareness for conservation efforts. The island has 104 acres total, and the reefs off the coast have been suffering from an eroding coastline and overfishing. The resort itself will have 36 resort bungalows and 36 estate homes. They will all be powered by renewable energy that is harvested from solar panels. To deal with the resort's water needs, rainwater will be collected and filtered using solar desalination. Basically, there will be no amenity on this resort that will be wasting Mother Nature's precious resources. Some people have considered buying one of the surrounding islands in hopes of having Leo as a neighbor, but those islands already come with buildings and homes, so they go for way more than $1.75 million. When Leo isn't creating art in the form of designing a hotel, he's collecting art from some of the greatest artists known to man. One has to wonder if Leo will deck out his resort with the finest paintings. For example, he has a 1973 work by Frank Stella. He also has a painting by Takashi Murakami, along with Jean-Pierre Roy's Nachlass. Leo has developed quite the eye for art, and he will often support up-and-coming artists by purchasing their work, setting up art galleries and shows, and much more. He's often gifted with art as well. In 2017, he was the victim of a money laundering scandal involving the Malaysian government. Without going into all the crazy details, Leo had to surrender 2 paintings, worth a combined total of $12.2 million over to the US government. One of the paintings was an original Picasso valued at $3.2 million, and the other one was a Basquiat worth about $9 million. These were amazingly generous gifts that were gifted to Leo after he worked on The Wolf of Wall Street, but they unfortunately had lots of controversy attached to them. But Leo hasn't let that event deter him from investing, especially when it comes to investing in companies that he believes in. In August 2018, it was announced that he would be an investor in a shoe company called all birds. In case you're wondering, yes, they are environmentally friendly. The company creates their shoes with a special material called sweet foam, which is a carbon-negative green ethylene vinyl acetate foam. It's made from a type of sugarcane that comes from Brazil. Each year, over 300 million pairs of shoes are discarded and end up in the environment, leaving a huge carbon footprint behind and harming wildlife. This new type of shoe is very green. With all of this in mind, it's no surprise that Leo has shown not only an interest in the footwear, but he also wants to open his wallet to help make it happen. His other investments include a virtual reality startup known as MindMaze, which primarily works in the healthcare industry. Sorry, gaming nerds. Leo even invested in a plant-based food startup called Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat is also all about conservation and reducing the environmental impact of the meat business. But what is truly interesting about Leo is that he collects dinosaur bones, primarily skulls. And we're not talking replicas. Leo is into buying the skulls that were once in the heads of living dinosaurs. As you can imagine, buying something like this isn't cheap. In fact, Leo once lost in a bidding war with Nicolas Cage over a dinosaur skull that later had to be returned to the Mongolian government. Nicholas had to return it because it turned out to be a stolen skull. Gosh, doesn't that sound familiar? It's a good thing Leo didn't win that auction, or he would have had to return yet another piece of rare history. But Leo did sell one of his prized dinosaur skulls to Russell Crowe, valued at between $35,000 to $40,000. Because of these two stories involving Leo and dinosaur skulls, the world had their interest piqued. However, the number of dinosaur skulls that Leo owns is truly a mystery. It could very well be possible that he only had one, which he then sold to Russell Crowe. Maybe on his quest to buy another skull, he lost the auction to Nicolas Cage. Or perhaps he has a whole room full of dinosaur skulls, one that would make Ross Geller jealous. Speaking of making people jealous, Leo is certainly making us green with envy with his car collection. As you might predict, all of his cars are eco-friendly and his choice of vehicles may surprise you. In 2011, Leo bought a Fisker Karma hybrid car for about $100,000. He also owns a Toyota Prius, which has the value of chump change in comparison to other cars he's bought. Leo also owns a Tesla Roadster, which he bought for about $200,000. This car is electric and won numerous awards for being the best car to come out in its respective year. It seems that Elon Musk and Leo are good friends and have collaborated together on a few projects. They even teamed up with National Geographic to make a movie about climate change called Before the Flood. Since Tesla is focusing on clean energy and such, you know that they're right up Leo's alley, and it seems like he wants to help those who want to make the world a greener place. We're all kids at heart, and some of us take that nostalgic feeling very seriously. Leo is no exception. Another interesting thing that Leo spends his money on is his action figure collection, or at least he used to. Perhaps he just really wanted to relive the simpler days of his boyhood. He seems to favor collecting original Star Wars action figures. Rumor has it that he also had a coveted and rare He-Man figure from 1982. While it's hard to tell exactly what was or is currently in his collection,
why do you have that?
We have a hint thanks to an auction company called Morphe Auctions. According to their auction page, Leo had over 150 Star Wars figures, which included the legendary vinyl Cape Jawa. He also had over 200 superhero figurines, but the specifics are unknown. Apparently, Leo also has or had over 200 robots and space toys. We can only imagine what the total worth of all these collectibles was. Morphe Auctions anticipated breaking $1 million on the first 3 days of an auction event that included some of Leo's figurines. They ended up making $2.8 million that spring, and Leo's collection was credited for contributing to a lot of those sales. Speaking of contributing, Leo is always doing something nice for the public. In 2012, he was the co-owner of the piano used in the 1942 film Casablanca. It's the same piano that Dooley Wilson used to perform the song As Times Go By in the movie. Leo partnered with a billionaire friend to buy the piano from auction for about $600,000. Surely, due to it being such a hefty investment, Leo kept the piano in his home, right? Well, he and his friend actually bought the piano with the intent of donating it to the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. The pair even got the piano for a deal, as people thought the piano would go for no less than $1.2 million. With the Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, Leo has been able to make some other amazing contributions, including getting the Seychelles out of their $22 million debt back in 2018 and creating nature reserves. This is all in connection with his original mission to battle climate change, and he is able to do so in a more organized way through his foundation. He has given money to over 100 organizations dedicated dedicated to solving the issue of climate change. But with all of that world-saving he's doing, he has to look good while doing it too. Leo has become well known for sporting some of the hottest designer sunglasses on the market. He can definitely afford to drop hundreds of dollars for those babies. He's also a big fan of luxury watches, and he has even done some print work for companies like Tag Heuer. He has also sported some impressive Rolex watches in different films. What is also rather amusing is that Leo really enjoys yachts. He's always renting luxury yachts and throwing the grandest parties. Perhaps he's trying to channel his inner Jack Dawson and Jay Gatsby. He definitely has the eyewear to keep the sun out of his eyes while he's on his yacht and traveling by water. When he's on land and has to make a red carpet appearance, Leo spares no expenses with the suits he wears. It looks like he favors luxury brands like Armani, and he tends to go with a simpler style that works for any occasion. His signature look is a white shirt with a dark jacket, as it's a look that never goes out of style. While Leo looks like he appreciates a good pair of shoes, he probably won't ever be caught wearing the most expensive pair in his collection. Remember how he bought the piano from Casablanca with the intent of donating it? He did the same for the rarest pair of shoes in the movie industry. In 2012, Leo bought one of the 4 pairs of ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland in the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz. This pair was believed to have been used in one of the numerous close-up shots in the movie. Plus, this pair was the best maintained over the years. After the movie wrapped, the shoes were stored in MGM's Culver City lot for 3 decades before being discovered by someone. The shoes went through various owners and auctions throughout the years, but these shoes didn't go home with Leo. He bought the shoes and donated them to the Academy Museum, which was in the works at the time. Leo is considered to be one of the biggest benefactors to the museum, and he's in good company. Steven Spielberg also contributed to getting these shoes to the museum. When you're worth $245 million, you can afford to spare no expense like Leonardo DiCaprio. From memorabilia, luxuries, collecting rare items, and even trying to make the world a better place, Leo is using his money to go against the traditional Hollywood grain. Of course, he does indulge and spoil himself from time to time. He definitely has the cash to be able to do just that. As Leo continues to work and do amazing Hollywood films, we anticipate that his net worth will only increase. When that happens, there's no telling what else he will spend his money on. What do you think of how Leonardo DiCaprio spends his millions? If you had his kind of money, what would you buy? Tell us in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.